Good morning. It is Sunday, the 18th of September 2022. I'm in the northeastern corner of England, Northumbria, a town called Alnwick. Well, it's clearly wall-to-wall coverage in Britain, and I dare say other parts of the world are interested as well in the death of Queen Elizabeth II. It is self-evident that there is huge affection and loyalty and for her. I am British. My family is sort of half and half. My father's side were English, my mother's side was Scottish. But I am a Christian, and to me that is the most important matter in my life and in the life of the whole world. Amen. As a Christian, it is perfectly clear that Christ did not rouse up armies to fight the Romans. His ministry was, apart from the overturning of the moneylenders' tables in the temple for desecrating God's holy place with money, with worldly things, exclusively of love, of loving behavior. There are the two commandments. Love God, love your neighbor as yourself. Yes, I recognize this world in which I live. And one hesitates to sort of in any way criticize what's going on. But that ordinary human being, in the sense that we are all just ordinary human beings in God's eyes, whatever our birth, colour, race, creed, beliefs, lack of belief, whatever we are as we grow up, before God we are all equal. So that woman in her public life was the monarch of Britain and 14 realms, I believe. Now, with that history behind of the British Empire and all the rest of that, and the monarchy going back centuries and so on and so forth. But since Henry VIII, the monarch became the head of the Church of England and then later the supreme governor. So by dint of the monarch's birth, they automatically become the head of, albeit compared to the Roman Catholics, a Christian church, the Church of England. I simply cannot accept that. The head of state, and Britain is a warlike nation. In my lifetime, there have been 3 wars of note, whatever. Falklands War 1982, and the two wars in Iraq. I've personally spoken to the former Archbishop of the Church of England, Robert Runcie, in the Cathedral and Abbey Church of St Albans. Yes, he says, we advocate this doctrine of an holy war. And that is, as far as I'm concerned, as a Christian, utterly false. So to me, I don't wish to speak ill of anyone, but it is an huge elephant in the room that a Christian, purportedly Christian organisation has as its supreme governor, and all the stuff that flows from that, the bowing and scraping and the sycophancy and all the rest of it, an human being who, on the one hand, is prepared to send Britain to war, if necessary, as it were, if push comes to shove, and yet there they are saying the words given to us by God through Christ. I do not accept that. Yes, one has to be governed in some manner. Fine, I suppose. That's an entirely separate issue, whether one abolishes the monarchy altogether and establishes a republic. But that association with God, as it were, sanctioning the behavior of people, therefore the mindset of the nation. And I've met many a Christian, born-again Christians, who simply will not see this. They cannot, they will not. They are blind. They are deaf. Yes, if one looks at the practicalities of this, clearly we have this current situation in Ukraine. Both sides purporting to be Christian, but then, in killing each other. We, in the First World War, in Europe, all the nations really involved, all purported to be Christian. Christ came to give us the opportunity to rise up out of our baser selves, and that is what I know. So whatever flows from it, his teaching is straightforward and simple. If they strike you on one cheek, give unto them the other cheek. Every single hair on the head of your fellow man, woman, and child is precious and special. Amen. Therefore, you can't kill. You can't even think about it. So find a better way. Don't present one thing whilst all the time doing something entirely different in practice. What comes to mind, it makes me sad, essentially. What comes to mind is Christ speaking of gathering everyone under his wings as a mother hen would gather her chicks. Right, well, how to do that? How to get through to people, my lot, British people, that all of this stuff is false in God's eyes. You cannot have an egg good in parts, which means all of it is rotten. Yes, it's done in the best possible taste, but there's association of the state, the military. Just look at the royal family, all of them dressed up in their military finery, and that same constitutional monarchy, the structure of the society in which we live. You cannot be an MP without swearing allegiance to the Queen. I think I'm right there. Right, King now. Well, it's false and utterly against God. Therefore, ultimately, it will fall apart. Amen. And become part of this process of Armageddon. I'd much rather be speaking of just purely Christian matters, as it were. This is a very worldly situation. Incidentally, there's this huge typhoon striking southern Japan at the moment. To me, it is absolutely clear. I have no doubt about this. It is a black and white issue. As with St. Alban, I avoided becoming a priest myself through the Cathedral and Abbey Church of St. Albans, very high church, Church of England, and it took me decades for this penny to drop. But once I saw it back in the 90s when I was in my 40s, I'm now 66 years old, there it is. It is false. They are hypocrites. The whole shebang. Love God through Christ. Listen to that small whisper. Listen to God's calling. Listen to God's voice given to us through Christ. Read the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Christ is our guide, not the world. Amen.